Hello from the Open World Forum 2010. I'm here with Tadeusz from April, French Free Software Advocacy Association. And we're going to talk a little bit about diversity in the free software movement. Now, Jean, my first question is, this is free software, right? The doors are open. There are no rules on being a woman or a man to join a mailing list or to commit code. So what's the problem? Why are there so few women in the free software movement?
Well, the fact is, the number of women has been declining in free software for the last 20 years or so. And women don't feel at ease, feel there is a problem. So from the start, there has to be some kind of issue, right? And also, the problem is there are so many stereotypes associated with being within the free software movement. Like, for instance, you have to be coding to be really a part of the movement. So if you're just doing things like documentation, like translation that more and more women do, you don't get recognized as being part of a movement, even though you are.
Thinking more broadly than diversity just as a woman's issue, do you see problems in free software communities which prevent people from other cultures and people who are maybe non-English speakers getting involved?
I think there is a problem, but the problem is the same as basically any big group of people when they come from a very similar kind of background, because they have the same ideas, the same background, and they just don't realize what they are doing. Like, for instance, when they see a woman, sometimes people assume they're assistants, they're interns, or they're just here as secretaries, when they're not. And it's so infuriating for women sometimes when you don't get disqualified from the start and you have to prove yourself worthy.
So how do we go about valuing non-technical contributions and non-code contributions to projects? How do we go about integrating those kinds of contributions into our reputation systems?
Well, the first step is to talk about it, because people don't necessarily realize it. It's not about like people want to discriminate against women or any other group. It's more they just don't realize there might be a problem. Then the answer could also be something around the lines of acknowledging the fact that there are women doing things and thinking about the more global work that's being done. And also there's an issue with girls in schools, the way they are being taught about software and computer science.
Do we need to do positive discrimination? Do we need to start actively recruiting women specifically into free software projects?
I'm not a fan personally about this kind of positive discrimination. I feel like if you start thinking about the way you behave, the way you do things, they might actually get some problems solved by themselves.
Isn't there also something to be said for the fact that there are fewer women in IT in general? How do you propose going about increasing the number of women involved in IT? Do you think it's something that we should try to solve?
I think it's an issue. The way girls in schools, like in orientation processes, they don't get taught. They don't get told about the way they could actually be computer scientists. They can actually go and to become developers, because there's no examples. There are no role models. And people say you are a girl, so you should like communication, marketing, teaching maybe. And no one tells you, like, you can be a girl and you can also go into computer. It's not only about being a cave and coding all night long.
Is there also a gender stereotype associated with the type of person who is attracted to a free software project? So even, how do we go about changing that? How do we go about softening the image of free software projects?
Well, there is an image. Like, when we talk about a geek, everyone gets an idea of this guy who's coding on his computer or on his own in this kind of cave and anything like that. So yeah, there's an image. How we go from there, I don't really know. But if we start giving examples, role models, women would do it, because there are women out there. So
do you think that groups like GNOME Women, Debian Women, Ubuntu Women, do you think that's the kind of initiative that we need? Places where women can see women contributing? It's
useful. If women feel better being in free software community, with being in those groups, I'm convinced they should go ahead. They should keep doing it.
You don't think that's positive discrimination?
Well, it's a group of women that just get together because they want to talk about the issue. They feel they're relating to them personally as women. It's not about discrimination. It's just about being comfortable in the community.
And are you hopeful that we will see an increase in women participation in free software communities?
I mean, you have to be. Otherwise, what's going to happen? I mean, 100% guys shouldn't be too much fun, right?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jan.
Thank you.
And goodbye from the Open World Forum. And see you soon on Intelli'N TV. Goodbye.